Welcome back, warrior. We're reading Ezra chapter 7. Ezra goes up to Jerusalem. Artaxerxes provides for beautifying the temple and sustains the Jews in their worship. Now, after these things, in the reign of Artaxerxes, I don't know how to say his name, Artaxerxes, king of Persia, Ezra, the son of Sariah, the son of Azariah, the son of Hilkiah, the son of Shalom, the son of Zadok, the son of Ahitub. Hold on a second. So we're just given a bunch of names right here. Let's see. The son of Shalom, the son of Zadok, the son of Ahitub, the son of Amarai, the son of Azariah, the son of Meroi. So this is like Ezra's lineage, so that's why it needs to be included. The son of Zerai, the son of Uzi, the son of Buki, the son of Abishua, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the chief priest. So this Ezra went up from Babylon, and he was a ready scribe in the law of Moses, which the Lord God of Israel had given. And the king granted him all his requests according to the hand of the Lord his God upon him. And there went up some of the children of Israel, and the priests and the Levites and the singers and the porters and the Nethinims unto Jerusalem in the 7th year of Artaxerxes the king. And he came to Jerusalem on the 5th month, which was in the 7th year of the king. For upon the first day of the 1st month began he to go up from Babylon, and on the 1st day of the 5th month came he to Jerusalem, according to the good hand of his God upon him. For Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the law of the Lord, and to do it, and to teach in Israel statutes and judgments. Now, this is the copy of the letter that the king Artaxerxes gave unto Ezra the priest, the scribe, even a scribe, of the words of the commandments of the Lord and of his statutes to Israel. We had to take a break for lunch for the littles. Okay, verse 12. Artaxerxes, king of kings, unto Ezra the priest, a scribe of the law of the God of heaven, perfect peace, and at such a time, I make a decree that all they of the people of Israel and of his priests and Levites in my realm, which are minded of their own free will to go up to Jerusalem, go with thee. For as much as thou art sent of the king and of his 7 counselors to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem, according to the law of thy God, which is in thine hand, and to carry the silver and gold which the king and his counselors have freely offered unto the God of Israel, whose habitation is in Jerusalem, and all the silver and gold that thou canst find in all the province of Babylon, with the freewill offering of the people and the priests offering willingly for the house of their God, which is in Jerusalem, that thou mayest buy speedily with this money bullocks, rams, lambs, with their meat offerings and their drink offerings, and offer them up upon the altar of the house of your God, which is in Jerusalem. And whatsoever shall seem good to thee and to thy brethren to do with the rest of the silver and the gold, and to do after the will of your God, the vessels also that are given thee for the service of the house of thy God, those deliver thou before the God of Jerusalem. And whatsoever more shall be needful for the house of thy God, which thou shalt have occasion to bestow it out of the king's treasure house. Okay, so we are going to be built, the temple is being built, and the king is also funding the temple. And so they're using the treasures, the treasure house treasures, I guess. And then verse 21, and I even Artaxerxes the king do make a decree to all the treasures which are beyond the river, that whatsoever Ezra the priest, the scribe of the law of God of heaven, shall require of you, it to be done speedily. So Ezra was able to get things done quickly because the king was telling people to do that. So that's awesome. Unto 100 talents of silver, and to 100 measures of wheat, and to 100 baths of wine, and to 100 baths of oil and salt, without prescribing how much. whatsoever is commanded by the God of heaven. For why should there be wrath against the realm of the king and his sons? Also, we certify you that touching any of the priests and Levites, singers, porters, or Nethinims, or ministers of this house of God, it shall not be lawful to impose toll, tribute, or custom upon them. And thou, Ezra, after the wisdom of thy God that is in thine hand, set magistrates and judges which may judge all the people that are beyond the river, all such as know the laws of God, and teach ye them that know them not. Okay, so now Ezra gets to teach people if they don't know stuff. And whosoever will not do the law of thy God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon him, whether it be unto death, or to banishment, or to confiscation of goods, or to imprisonment. Okay, so verse 27 and 28, blessed be the Lord God of our fathers, which hath put such a thing as this in the king's heart, to beautify the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem, and hath extended mercy unto me before the king and his counselors, and before all the king's mighty princes. And I was strengthened, as the hand of the Lord my God was upon me, and I gathered together out of Israel chief men to go up with me. Okay, so that is the end of Ezra chapter 7. So it's basically like 60 years have passed since the end of Ezra chapter 6. And then this is King Artaxerxes, the king of Persia, succeeded King Xerxes. And King Xerxes is the king who married Esther. So you can see that the whole Old Testament is somewhat in chronological order, but not totally. The Old Testament is divided in our Christian Bibles into 5 sections, and look at the chart below. We're going to look at this chart. Let me show it to you here so that you can see. This is from Redheaded Hostess. So this is the chart. Now you might not be able to read everything because it is probably reversed order. So maybe I should show it to you in this way. If we can show, oh yeah, that's better. Okay, so we see that now. And let's see. So then it says the Old Testament. So right now we're learning much of the history of the house of Israel, but soon we will be studying poetry and then words of the prophets. When we study the words of the prophets, we will be learning specifically what the prophets taught during many of these historical events. Ezra's history traces his lineage to Aaron, the brother of Moses, showing that he was a rightful priest of the lineage of Aaron, which they had to have, because remember when they built the temple, that said that people that could not prove their lineage weren't going to be allowed to be priests. So this history doesn't seem to be like a complete list, because there's like a few names left out, but there may be like 3 or 4 names left out, but it was supposed to be like really good, right? And then Ezra led another group of Jews out of Babylon back to Jerusalem. Ezra was a priest as well as a ready scribe in the law of Moses. We use the term scribe to refer to someone who writes for another, but they were different in the Bible and had a specific role in these times that Ezra lived. This is what the church news article teaches about the scribes during these days when the Jews had been in exile. So it says, when there were prophets in Israel, scribes served primarily as teachers and copyists. However, when there was limited access to the prophets, such as some periods of time when the Jews were in exile, scribes who were experts in the law of Moses took on important duties and filled powerful roles. When the Jews were in Babylonian exile, scribes worked to help keep their people's faith alive and to retain their nation's identity. During the exile, scribes organized small groups to study the law of Moses and the history of their people. Okay, I guess that makes sense. While they were in exile, most of the people had begun speaking Aramaic or Chaldean languages used in Babylonia and were no longer able to read or speak Hebrew. By the time they returned to Jerusalem, they had become quite dependent upon scribes to interpret the scriptures in an effort to present the scriptures so they could be understood by all people. The scribes read them in the original Hebrew and translated or explained them in whatever local language was spoken by the people. Wouldn't that be crazy to try and be like, hey, can you read me that favorite verse of mine one more time? Because I can't quite remember it and I don't have pen and paper to write it down. It would be crazy. I'm so glad that we have like physical scriptures, but also our digital scriptures that allow us to save and share as many scriptures as we want, and especially read them whenever we want. So Ezra started with his own heart and sought the law of the Lord, then committed to it. Because of that, he was then ready to prepare and prepared to teach it. These are exactly the kind of teachers, leaders, and mentors we needed and we need. This phrase can describe prophets and apostles today, and it can also describe primary teachers, Relief Society teachers, bishops, youth leaders, youth teachers, and so many more. But this is the formula that will allow them to mentor and testify because they have sought the law and lived it. They will have evidence to testify of it. Love that. And so that's verse 10. So let's see what it says again. It says, for Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the law of the Lord and to do it and to teach in Israel statutes and judgments. So first we seek to learn and know the law. Then we do it. Then we can teach it. Ezra's influence was so great that the king of Persia knew of him and wrote a letter containing decrees that would give Ezra freedom, money, and the ability to go to Jerusalem and continue to build up the city. Okay. Ezra was given permission to do whatsoever shall seem good to him and to the brethren, and to do whatever they needed to with the rest of the silver and the gold. The king trusted that Ezra would use the enormous amount of gold, silver, and money as he saw fit, even gave Ezra permission that if more shall be needful for thy house, or for the house of thy God, that he would have access to the funds from the king's treasure house. So cool, right? Okay, and then Ezra's gratitude. So Ezra expresses gratitude to God for the generosity of the king and proclaims that it strengthened him. So he gathered together out of Israel chief men to go up with me, so with him. And in the Come Follow Me schedule, it skips Ezra 8 and 9 and Nehemiah 1. Here are some of the things that we will want to know before studying Nehemiah chapter 2. Says Ezra chapter 8 gives a list of the families who went with Ezra to Jerusalem. This list contains the heads of the households, so the number listed in that chapter, which is over 1700, is only a portion of those who left Babylon for Jerusalem. Ezra 9 to 10 tells us of the struggle that the Jews had as they intermarried with the Canaanites of the land, repeating the sins of their past. The book of Nehemiah is a record of Nehemiah, who was another leader of the Jews. It was under his direction that the walls of Jerusalem were rebuilt. And then Nehemiah 1 tells of Nehemiah's concern for the Jews in Jerusalem. He learned that they were in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. So this report settled on Nehemiah's heart, and he fasted and prayed for them. This was the first step to God leading Nehemiah to a great work, a work that caused his name to be memorialized in the Bible forevermore. Okay, so now we are going to stop our reading, and then we're going to pick up at Nehemiah chapter 2. Okay, until then, stay strong, warrior.